Welcome all of you risk takers and truth seekers to Podcast Life the Battlefield. Today, and only today, you're going to meet a real human who stands behind his words. Somebody who makes this planet better place. Literally better place. I had the opportunity to witness this on 22nd of February. How often you go on a black tie event and when somebody make this event for the humanity. Not just because we want to be there. Majority of people love to go to those events to take the pictures, look at me, look at her, look how dressed we are. And then we go home, it's like, oh, how special we are. But my guest today, his name is Yasser Zaki. Somebody who migrated from Egypt 2004 in Australia. He built not just a business, but give the biggest hope, tangible hope to human society. Yasser, welcome to Podcast Life the Battlefield.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Look, Yasser, as I say, 22nd of February, you organized this amazing black tie event. And I couldn't believe, because I'm embarrassed I never heard about TLC. When I walk inside, thanks to our friend, I saw myself, I said, this guy, he is something special. He is somebody who's really believe in helping others. So, but let's go start with your humble beginnings. 2004. From Egypt to Australia. Tell us more about this one.
Well, look, I was that kid that always wanted to do things differently from the family, and I wanted to explore the world. So I made a decision to come to Australia to pursue a future. And in 2004, on my birthday, actually in December, is when I landed. And coming in with all hope and energy to explore what this land has to offer. I ended up struggling quite significantly in the beginning, just trying to fit in the culture of, understand even the English. I spoke English, but different accent to start understanding the terminologies. I had the lamest and worst jokes no one laughed at, like to just try and fit in.
I can relate to this. I can relate to that, yes.
So that was the start, and I had to work very hard on turning that around and understanding how to fit in and build a future in a country that offers future to those that are willing to put the effort in.
So when you arrived in Australia, what was your first impression? I read so much about you, right? And, doesn't matter how many times I read, I truly believe that your story, it's unique story which can assist so many people, right? You never give up on your life. You never give up on helping others, but nobody helps you. So when you arrive in Australia, what was your dream when you come here? What did you expect and what didn't you get it?
Well, the biggest thing was building a family, and stabilizing my life and not having to rely on my parents on anything, being independent. And it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. It really wasn't. But eventually, when you start finding your feet and finding your passion, things start unfolding for you. And that's what happened with me. And I started working in sales. I originally started computers and come to Australia working in sales because that was the only opportunity that I could find myself in. I never worked on computers, and my career completely took a different turn.
Okay. Because you're quite a very well-educated person, and, I want you to take it lesson from this, that the hardship sometimes shape you for the better future. And I was the one of them. Today it's not podcast about me, it's about my guest, Yasser Zaki. And he demonstrated, this is what I want you to learn, that it's possible that you could build your dream even if facing the obstacles. So let's go more with something different. You said that public transport for you, it was a mean of communication with people or connecting with society. Do you mind to just expand on this?
So one of the things that you face being a migrant is you don't have immediate families. Your siblings are not there. Your friends from school are not there. Your parents are not there. And when life gets tough sometimes, you need to create a meditation type of approach where you can clear your head and realign yourself with your vision. Because it's very easy to be persuaded away from it. And catching train rides was my thing. Whenever I had one of those rough days, I love observing human behaviors. I love seeing how people change from one station to another, from one area to another, and how they behave. And so a train ride was that for me. It always cleared my mind. So I commonly took train rides just randomly without any destination. Just get on a train and see where it takes me. And I observe how people interact, how people talk, how people not talk, how people change the way they dress from one area to another, the way they look, the culture changes, and you can actually see it if you pay attention.
It is a difference. Yeah, it is a difference.
Yeah.
Look, I can relate to this because I do remember I was working in city and I was married here in the Blacktown, and I remember then my wife, she would draw me 10 p.m. at the train station Blacktown, and you walk into that train, and like when that voice says an all station to Barabra, I'll be so sad, upset, maybe because it's like, this is my life, the train, working night shifts and everything else. So I can understand this, but one thing, most of the migrants, they learn English, but by listening how people talk around them. So you done very well. But what's with meditation? Why meditation? How did you meditate on train? I mean,
so
share with us your secret.
Look, it's to be able to deal with tough situations. The first thing that I always do is I go still. Right? So I stop. Okay. When things get crazy in life for me, till today, I do that. I stop. And then I realign myself with what I want to do and then start launching myself again. And meditation helps with that. I do a lot of breath exercises and a lot of meditation. I do a lot of that stuff because it brings me back to the center self.
Yeah.
So I'm always in that Zen mood where I can focus and not get distracted.
Yeah.
And again, being on the train did that for me. It took me away from the problem. And that's very important to sometimes get out of the problem first and then deal with it. So then you can easily tackle the challenges from a very rational, reasonable approach rather than from being reactive. And as you know, sometimes when you're reactive, you don't particularly make the best decisions. So if you can somehow stop yourself, and one of my favorite books is called Stillness is the Key, all right?
Stillness is the key.
Is the key. And it talks about that art of when things are chaos and things are all over the place around you, stop and then relaunch yourself. And that will give you a completely different perspective to the issue, to the problem, to the challenge, and to whatever you're dealing with. And that will improve your decision-making process. And that's exactly what I did through meditation.
Guys, I mean, that's the best point, because I know that we make one of the stupidest decisions when we are too excited. I know this in my life, with the girlfriends, and you promise many things when you're in a relationship, like, I love you, gonna do this for you because you're excited. Or when you're very angry, you hurt people around you. But you're absolutely spot on. And I knew it, Yasser, I knew it, something was there with you when I saw you that night on 22nd of February. I said, this man, I don't know what his philosophy is, but to put 600 people in one room, that's a big, big, big statement. And now I understand why, because you have your philosophy, which you're approaching totally different than anybody else, because we are all using our emotions to make decisions, impulse. And then that leads us to the lady. You saw somebody, some old lady, and if I can remember her name, it's Margaret, right?
Yes.
I read that story, what you said in some other program. But do you mind to our viewers and listeners say how this woman changed your life? I mean, you're the foreigner, you're the new guy, new kid in the block, yet your humanity comes up, and that lady changed your life. Do you mind to share with us?
So we grew up in a way that when you see someone distressed, and you'd always ask, are you okay? Is everything all right? Is there anything I can help with? And that's exactly what happened. I met Margaret and I asked the question. She was crying and she was quite sad and going through a bit of tough time in her personal life. And I asked, are you okay? And it's a very common thing that elderly people tend to open up and talk. And she did open up with me. And she started telling me why she's upset, which was quite sad to hear. And at that moment, it became an empathy drive approach. I felt bad for her, and I wanted to be nice.
Yes.
So I helped her out to carry bags and shopping to her house, and I would love to think that anyone in my shoes would have done the same. Walked in, found the house a bit messy, an elderly lady. It's not easy for her to do that, so I just went in and did a bit of tidying up and got a bite to eat, and we started drinking tea together, and then that became my thing every Saturday. And I did it just to help out initially, but 2.5 years later, she passed away, and I got really sad. But there's a wake-up call. There was a massive wake-up call for me that changed my life completely.
Epiphany, right? You know, I mean, something happened for something to happen.
Well, we call it the moment in the most. I did a bit of study on that because it changed something in me completely. I'm a completely different person from that day, and it made me think. So I always grew up in helping people. Helping people is something I like doing, but as a hobby or as a volunteering my time or just feeling, empathy towards people. But to live a life of supporting and helping and changing narratives and changing mindsets, that completely changed from that experience. Because I realized that it wasn't me helping her. Right? It wasn't. It was her helping me to realize that happiness comes when you give, and you give happily without calculations. And that's the narrative that changed in my life completely from that experience.
I need to take this statement and just mark it the time we said this. So happiness is not taking but giving. That's what you say, right?
Yes, and I've heard it a lot and I've read it a lot before, but now I can tell you I live it, and it's true.
It's so profound. No, seriously, honestly, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Yasser, because we're living we are very consumer-driving society, right? We want everything. And as I said, please forgive me, you know what I mean? I know I should not say these things, but it's so much it's BS over there, right? And everybody try to portray themselves as a good Samaritan. Just take a picture, video, look at me. Yet you come here so humble. I mean, seriously, we couldn't come to the point where I'm saying Yasser is a humble man. And then you make this statement with that lady Margaret that our happiness is not but just taking but giving back. I mean, okay, please, sorry.
So what I always say to people is building a business or pursuing careers or financial stability or these things, there's nothing wrong with that. But how beautiful would that be if it's mixed up with giving back? How beautiful would that be if we just do small little changes in our lives that can cater for others that otherwise are marginalized? While you're still on the pathway of your career development or business development or financial stability or whatever that might be. How beautiful would that be if you still achieve all these things and sometimes more while you're considering the marginalized communities, whether disability, whether age people, whether minorities in the country, whatever that is. So, and that's the narrative I'm trying to now really push very hard towards. Let's be successful and help people. Because the more successful you are, the more people you can help. The more influence you can have where people can walk your walk. You can pave the way for others to do what you're doing. But you have to showcase it, right? Sometimes people need to see that it actually does work. And that's my focus now is let's show people that it works. It's okay to do all the beautiful things you're used to. I'm not asking anyone to change their life. I'm just asking to accommodate for others that can change the world, that change the economy, change the community behind us. It improves your business return of investment. It ticks all your boxes. And at the same time, it's helping people that are in desperate need of support. And the government can't do it all on their own. They can't. We hear all the budget problems, challenges, all these things. So do we want to go into the political side of things or do we want to actually help people? Then we need to get creative on how we help people. And that means the greater community needs to pitch in. And it's not just about taxpayers' money contributing. It's about that we can do small little changes that does not impact our life at all, but gives us more positive outcome where we can accommodate for others. Employment, people that have businesses, they could allow for people with disability to come for an interview. And if they have the skill, hire them. If they don't hire them. That's fine.
Something. Sorry to again. This is interrupt you because I wanna pass my experience what I saw on an event you created on 22nd of February. There was a moment when there was a video on the walls and showing that all these amazing humans who are working in the coffee shop where they're getting the skills and everything else. When they saw themselves and how they speak about them, the happiness on their face, it is truly, I can't even explain it. So like I said to myself, these people are so happy that being recognized, what you gave them. And I mean, so tell us something, when you started your business, TLC, Tender Love, Caring, what obstacles did you face when you started this one? Because this is disability, people with disability, disadvantaged people. And as well, again, society loves to make commercials. Are you okay? We help the people with disabilities. But in reality, that's all commercials. Reality is what you're doing. So when you started your business, what obstacles did you face and how did you overcome them?
Look, the biggest obstacle, so we always say, you want to focus on the goal, all right? And then you'll be able to work through the obstacles. If you focus on the obstacles, you will never get to your goal, okay? So it's a very important narrative. So when we say the goal is to create a positive impact on the world where people with disability can live safely and be accommodated for and be able to live as everyone else in the community and have the same opportunities like everyone else in the communities. Yes. And the challenges then becomes a lot easier to work through. And some of our challenges is most of the services that are offered for people with disability, for example, are government-funded services.
Yes.
That means you have limitations of the rules and regulations, there's nothing wrong with that. I support that, no problems. But then if I want to get creative in helping people, I need to start thinking outside of these guidelines. How do I do that? That's the first question. And that's one of the obstacles that we faced. How can we provide people with disability the opportunity to be treated like everyone else in the community and have that equal opportunity without relying on government funding? Because government can't do it all on their own.
Yes.
And without pinning people with disability to become a journey or a pathway to collecting money, to receiving donations. Because that's the common narrative, which, again, there's nothing wrong with that. But how can I come up with something that is different? Creating a sustainable business that can support that can generate revenue and become successful, where it can actually contribute for this type of initiatives.
Yes.
And that was the starting point of how can we overcome some of the obstacles to achieve our goal. Because the focus is always on the goal, not on the obstacle. And that's why we came with the initiative that you saw in the event, where it's open employment, no government funding comes to that initiative whatsoever. It's a business that we roast coffee, make coffee, have our own coffee shops, people with disability, pack it, make it, manufacture it, deliver it, and then other people with disability offer it to customers in a consumer-driven market. And now we look at franchising the coffee shop model with a constitution that clearly says minimum of 70% of employees to be people with disability. So giving that equal opportunity that people with disability can give back, can pay tax, and can support the greater economy if we just let them, if we allow them, if we give them the tool to succeed. I mean, we're in this beautiful studio.
Yeah.
We need mics to be able to
create this content.
Otherwise, without the mic, this fails.
Yes.
It's exactly the same for a person with disability. They need a tool to succeed. Now, if you're not giving them the tools to succeed, and these tools is not your common tools, it's not the tools that you and I would use.
Yes.
So if we give them the appropriate tools, they will succeed. And if they don't, then it's fair. Don't recruit them. All we're asking for is equal opportunity.
You're very speechless because the one thing I noticed as well on that night, again, that your company is not just a company who is just helping people with disabilities, But that's all the family members. Family members, they're grateful that they have been, kids been looked after by the company as yourself, right? But one thing I just want to on a record right now. So doesn't matter what I Googling, what I do research, or try to find the references. I still can't rid of that coffee bag with a $6.95 per hour. Okay, so guys, this is the Yasser's going to explain this, but the average salary in Australia legally it's a $6.95 for a disabled person. However, then there comes the even bigger hit in my face, $2 and something, right? Okay, do you mind to share with us, please, Yasser? Because I can see that you're fighting for that equality for this group of the people who are sometimes maybe somebody takes advantage of them, working for $6.95. $6.95. I mean, it doesn't make a sense.
So
please.
So $2.80, I think it was, or $2.90 is the minimum legal requirement payment for a person with disability. We call it supported employment. And the average across the board is $6.95.
Yeah.
We have 5 million people with disability in Australia.
5 million?
5 million people with disability.
That's Australia. 150.
Yes. 1 in 5. They are the largest minority in the world. Right? 1 billion people with disability in the world. So if you don't see that as a political power, then we need to think again. If you don't see them as a good customer, you need to think again. If you don't see them as people that can contribute and not only take, you need to think again. Now the question here is, if we're paying them $6 an hour, and that's totally legal and that's totally fine, lesser superannuation than anyone else, because you're allowed to pay them 9.5% while everyone else is on 11%, for no real reason, because they do the job as equally. And if they don't, I was saying be fair and equitable. How can they then live a higher socioeconomic life, where they can enjoy life the way you and I would enjoy it when we do have open employment? If they want to travel, that's a problem. If they want to go on holidays, that's a challenge. If they want to get a car, if they can drive, that's a challenge. And this living in a good suburb or a good area, or having at least the opportunity to make that choice. Doesn't mean they have to have all these things. Not all of us have all these things.
Yes.
But we have the opportunity to make a choice to work more, less, save money, not save money, travel, not travel. But a lot of people with disability don't get the opportunity to make that choice. And that's what we're trying to change. If someone does the job, they should get paid for the job.
Absolutely.
Whether they have a disability or not.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. And there are a lot of organizations that stand by the same principle and support in that. And I commend them all, because it's not easy to battle that. Because we know that we're not going to get government funding for it. We're going to have to get creative. And that's not easy. So finding the right balance to deliver the outcome that we want is what we're trying to achieve here. And if we show people how it's done, if we show people that one hand can clap, it needs more than one person to do it. If we show people that a ship without goodness sinks, you have to have goodness in your business, you have to have goodness in your life. Otherwise, you already will struggle, whether morally or emotionally or even perception from external parties. Doing goodness delivers goodness. So let's put our hands together. I can't do it on my own. I don't intend to do it on my own. I want to do it with people that are willing to buy into the mission and help us and support us. Now, the support can vary from opening your business to welcome people to do that, to just going into the coffee shop and buying the coffee from the guys, or buy the coffee beans and that allow the business to succeed so it can recruit more people, because the more success, the more help. The more success, the more opportunities. And we're saying that to any business that is willing to join us in this journey, it's okay to make money and help people. There's nothing wrong with that. So push for profits, push for success, push for revenue, but don't forget to give back your social responsibilities. Help vulnerable communities.
Social responsibilities, yeah. Now, look, we are all, nothing it's in life is for free, right? There's no question asked. You have now 1,100 people working for you, right? That's a big statement. And like I must say, I'm very proud that I know somebody who come here 20 years ago, right? Didn't know the language as everybody else. You have no problem to say the few obstacles you faced and that you build a business. And yet, as I say, I don't care, what money it's involved. But the faces, expression that night on faces of these guys working for you, right? And they're doing barista course, whatever it is. It's priceless. I can't emphasize enough. I remember my son was for almost 12 years, he was epileptic. And then we decided to do surgery, and it was a 50-50 chance what's going to happen. So, pretty well, and he's healthy now. But for 12 years, I was thinking myself, what's going to be with his life once when I'm not here, or his mother? And nobody want to talk about this, right? Just prepare the will, assets in his name. And I was like, come on, seriously, he's like a teenager. He's not like a 70s-old man. But then I'm glad that life put ahead of me, in front of me, people like yourself. And you are the real model, not just a role model. You're the real model that it can be done. So what services TLC offers, and how the people can help you, assist you, how they can promote this, how can come to you?
So we predominantly in the healthcare, right? Aged care, disability. We offer the general normal services, right? Like in-home care, allied health professionals, accommodation services, domestic support, that kind of stuff, day programs, all these support coordination, all that kind of stuff. That's the standard of where the government tells us pretty much fund the person, and we provide services based on the funding. But where we really went out of the norm is that we create an ecosystem outside of that can support that, but give people an opportunity to then have opportunity to live as normal as anyone else, right? Whatever that means. And for example, we have what we call Mayfood, which is the TLC impact arm.
Yes.
That's the employment. 70% of employees are people with disability, open employment, no government funding. This is a business running by people with disability, for people with disability, and interacting with the mainstream community. And there's another one, which is TLC Travel, which is creating accessible travel for people with disability. We found that a lot of people with disability are struggling to travel for many different reasons, whether financial challenges. So we get them very special deals, and sometimes even we organize for trips free of charge and things like that. And we advise governments now, because we wanted to take that
national broad,
just to make the real difference.
Yes.
If I'm a person in a wheelchair and I have the means to travel, where am I going to go? If I go to some countries that don't have wheelchair accessibility, then I can't go there. But I don't even know which one have accessibility. Where do I get the information from? So we're trying now to educate some countries. We did that with the Tuscany region in Italy. We did that with Dubai airport. We do with multiple countries where we give them advice or support to become accessible. Then we help people with disability to travel to this destination. So it's a win-win. The governments are changing and becoming accessible destinations, and their tourism increases because now people with disability, and remember the number is huge.
Yes.
People with disability now can actually travel to these destinations comfortably. And those things, sometimes we don't even talk about them, because it's not a thing where people with disability can just travel internationally and go on a holiday like you and I would. But even if they can, it's so hard for them to find the right country that will support their disability. So we're trying to change that narrative now, which we have, and we have a lot of success stories in that space. And then we have the aged care. We're passionate about supporting people as part of our family. We call it the TLC family concept. So if we get someone, and everything I'm doing, you would have felt it in the event, it's designed to go beyond Yasser as a person, right?
Yes, that is, I give you the credit for that one. As I say, you are correct. It go beyond your name.
It needs to go beyond my name, because it's designed to support people.
Yes.
And I can't be here forever. So, but the plan is for TLC to be here forever, to continue to help people. So for me to be able to do that, I need the level of, design around the business model that can cater and support for these type of futures. Mm-hmm. So it goes beyond Yasser as a person. Such a critical thing for me. So we're now looking at the opportunities for people. We're creating the TLC Impact Foundation. We're also having people joining TLC from zero to youth to adult to now end of life. And that's why we joined the Age Care journey, because we want to be able, if you join TLC and happy with TLC, and I'm not saying that we get everything right every time, but what we say is if we don't, we endorse it and accept responsibility and do something about it. If the expectation that any business will be perfect, then we've got a problem here. The problem is not being perfect or not. The problem is if you're not perfect, are you accepting responsibility? And are you changing that? Are you doing something about it?
Yeah.
And that's my commitment to people, that whenever we don't do something that is right or upsets someone, we will always take feedback and we'll always do something about it. So we're continuously improving our operations based on feedback and information. We're in a people-heavy business, which means people with different backgrounds, different opinions, different approaches, different language barriers, different, there's different everything. So it's not one size fits all. And that's why we work with people and endorse the feedback to be able to change and cater for as many people as we can.
As I say, the one thing what struck me on your event, and I feel embarrassed to say that I never read nowhere in a big media outlets about TLC. I was really embarrassed, honestly, because myself again, you didn't say me, and again, guys, I want you to understand there's a difference between the business people and the business people with the heart, big heart, and humanity inside of themselves, like Yasser. It was not about you, it was all about these people. And as I said, from all these 600 people there sitting, nicely dressed and supporting everything else, I saw the faces of those guys and girls making the coffee. Do you understand? This is priceless. You know what I mean? That somebody give them purpose to these guys to wake up in the morning being accepted by the Yasser Zaki. You know what I mean? No, anybody just on street, because you are something. You're truly something. Your purpose, your mission, it is to give the people that hope and the purpose in life, that they can be integrated into the society as a normal human being. Because, as I say, we all love to see the commercials. Are you okay? This and that, but you truly know them. When I saw on a video that Yasser pays for his coffee shop to these guys, I was melting. I said to Alice, I'm over this, because this guy, whoever it is, I want to see him. I want to talk to him.
I'm a customer like everyone else.
Yes,
I pay.
That's what.
And,
yes.
And if I don't like it, I tell him.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And because it's the concept of, we don't want anyone to treat people's ability differently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to sympathize with them. I just want you to give them the opportunity like you would give everyone else. And that's what I'm doing myself. I come in, if I went to any coffee shop and I ordered a coffee, or I don't drink coffee, it's chai latte usually.
Yeah, that's like a chai latte, yes.
Chai latte. But if
it's offensive.
If it's not nice,
yeah.
I would say that. I said, look, that wasn't really nice.
Yeah.
And I do the same with the guys. It's just equal treatment. And I pay like everyone else. This is their business. They earn money from it. So how am I to not pay? And sometimes they tell me, yes, it's on the house. I'm like, no, I want to pay for my chai latte. And it's not because I want to just give them. I'm not giving them charity. And we don't want to collect charity. You would have noticed in the event, we did not collect 1 cent.
That is another thing.
That was deliberate. We want to change the narrative that anything around people's disability is about paying charity. We don't want charity. If you want to support us, go buy coffee. That's support. I buy the coffee to support them, because I'll pay anyway in any coffee shop. So why wouldn't I pay in that coffee shop? So I buy the coffees. I mean, I don't drink it, but I have visitors and people that drink it. So I buy the coffee, the actual beans and the roasted coffee, because I want to support that business. Because that business is an impactful business. It's a business that is doing good. So why would I buy normal coffee or other coffee that doesn't do equally the same, while I have a coffee that changes our community to be a better community? And that's all I'm asking people to do. If the coffee tastes good, we make sure that we get the top quality, the best packaging, the best everything. So if I can give you the best of everything while I'm helping people, help us to do that. Support that business. We don't want charity. We don't want donations. We don't want that. We just want to run a successful business that supports people to have open employment. That's it. Help us to do that by giving us feedback. If you drink our coffee and you don't like it, let us know. By giving us the opportunity to explore what we do. That's all we're asking for.
No, like as I say, guys, this is the differentiator than anything else. This is the humanity. We're living in very fast-paced society, where there's a lot of false gurus, narrators, orators, public speakers, business coaches. But one thing you can learn from Yasser, that you can do it better, guys. Not just for yourself, but for society. After all, you just don't building the business, you're building something called legacy. And you already said this, you want to be something after you, to stay that way.
Correct.
And what better way than investing into the society? You say 5 million people in Australia with disability. That's a 1/5 of society with disability. That's a big, big force. I didn't even know that exists.
Yeah.
But as I say, like when I got a coffee bean bag with the coffee beans, I said to the people on the table, it's like, did I see this $6.95 properly, or is this like some type of whatever promotion? And everybody was Googling, because people are not aware. I think society needs to know more about you. So where's the coffee shop? Where the people can find the coffee?
So the first one is in Bankstown.
Yes.
On 1 West Terrace, Bankstown. We just got a coffee cart, which will be touring around Sydney.
Okay.
And the first stop for it will be in the Disability Expo, actually, to showcase that people can do it and give them the opportunity. So that's coming up.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at potentially franchising that model to expand on it. We just now, the first stage is always making sure it's right, safety is done correctly, risk assessments are done properly, and we got the model right. And now we're about to expand.
Because your business is not just, if I just may add on this one, your business is not like, let's just say my business. My business does investigation. We don't have the people with disability. So the legal and requirements are less stringent for my business, I'll call it. There's less policy procedures, there's less code of conduct due to care. But you are one, need to look everything, you know what I mean?
We're heavily regulated, which is rightly so. I support that 100%. I like to be heavily regulated. It's sometimes painful, but it sets us on the right path.
Yeah.
And I have a team that I have full faith in them. I've got 4 people and a student supporting them. So 5 people that are doing quality work for us to make sure that we're compliant with all government requirements. Being compliant can be painful, but it is the right thing to do. So we're setting the standard to make sure that we are not just jumping on opportunities, but we're doing it right. So I'm okay with that. We follow the steps. We do the risk assessments. We do the proper intakes. We do the skill development. We do the supervision if we need to. And if a person with disability is not performing, we performance manage them as equally. We follow the protocols equally. And that's the most important thing when we recruit people with disability, that they understand that. We tell them that. We say, you get the employment and you'll be managed like everyone else. If you perform, you get an award and you get a thank you. If you don't perform, you'll get put on a performance improvement protocol. And that's what we do. So we're not saying any different from what we're used to. It's just people are not paying attention sometimes. But if you actually pay attention, as I told you, there's 5 million people with disability. They can vote governments in, they can vote governments out. They have so much influence because each one of them has a family around them. So 5 million people have an influence for at least 12 million people. So think about, the amount of, support that people with disability can do to the economy if you just let them. All we have to do, I don't even, we talk about inclusion. I have a problem with that language. Why are we, it's a cause and effect.
Yes.
Inclusion is the effect.
Yes.
We're tackling inclusion so much and we're forgetting about the exclusion. Why is there exclusion in the first place? Why did that happen in the first place? Why is it them and us? Why do we now have to put an effort to include people with disability. Why do we have to put an effort? That should be a given. And all people with disability and people from marginalized communities or different backgrounds, all they want is for people to stay out of the way. As a migrant, I never needed anyone to include me. I just needed everyone to step out of the way and give me the opportunity. Why is there exclusion in the first place? It should be a given right for everybody in this country to be able to have employment if they're capable of doing that. They should be able to work any job that they would like to do if they're capable of doing that. Study any education they want if they're capable of doing that. And have a say and input in government, parliament, policies, and whatever is necessary to manage that. So this is what I'm saying. We focus so much on the effect, and sometimes we don't look at the cause. What caused
that is very true. You said this very well. We're talking about inclusion. While you were talking, I was thinking myself, but we never spoke about this. When did we exclude these people, and then why would we exclude these people? But I'm glad that this country, Australia, has you. I don't care for other ones. I mean, I never interviewed nobody else.
There's a lot of people that I know that are really, have the right heart and the right intention, and they're trying very hard. I can never do it on my own, and I don't intend to do it on my own. I want to do it all of us. And every time this conversation, if anyone is listening to us, if we change one person in this conversation, we're already winners. We have someone on the journey, and we keep adding to the journey. We're not competing to deliver goodness. We are collaborating to deliver goodness. So let's do it together. And I know people that are really putting a lot of effort. Some might have been better than others. I might have better opportunities come my way, or be more loud about it, or things like that. But I know a lot of people that have the right intention out there, and I commend them all, because it's not easy.
Who are you? Yasser, who are you? Seriously, because I never saw somebody, you're a very strong businessman. I saw this. But yet your humbleness,
thank you.
It's just second to none. I mean, there is no BS here. Like I'm just watching you right here, and you are never mention me. Instead of this, this is the people we're looking after. This is what they try to achieve for these people. And I think myself, nobody says these things. Everybody try to portray themselves the bigger, greater, as a necessity to society. Yet you are saying the 5 million people, plus your competitors, you're saying this clearly. There are a number of people there who is doing job like you do, but they have no voice. And I'm imploring all of you guys, all of my 150,000 followers, guys, I want you to share this story wide and everywhere, because society needs to think about when we need to stop exclusion, not talking about inclusion, because everything is harder when we need to absorb back into society, but we are actually taken out of society. And I don't know why. And I'm grateful that you come in this country. Maybe that was your path for...
I'm grateful to be here. I'm very grateful. I love Australia a lot, and it's given me a lot, and even the opportunity to make a difference. It's not as easy in different countries. I mean, we do that on a global scale. We run a global operation, so we have a mission around the world to try and create these narratives across different regions, and then mix the standards to make sure that we get the best of the best for people. And it's not always as easy, but it's not meant to be easy. It's meant to be exciting. I can't deliver what we deliver without my team, without the people behind me. I can guarantee you that.
I saw that your team.
I love having my team around me. I'm very proud of them. And when I receive an award, I always say that, and I like to repeat it a lot. Sometimes I get recognized and get awards and things like that, which is really nice. It adds credibility to the work we're doing. It profiles us as a thought leaders in the hopes that other people will walk the journey with us.
Yes.
But when we receive an award, it's not a Yasser award. It might have my name on it, right? But it's not a Yasser award. This is Yasser and the TLC Family Award. And this is genuine thought. I can't get to these places without my team. My team are amazing, and they believe. And I always say, we're a train. We don't stop. People that fit with our values, they stay on the train. People that don't, they, drop out of the train. But the train never stops. The train is always going. And I have people that were there from day one at TLC, supporting the journey all the way through. So I can't sit here and tell you, Yasser did it all, because it's not true. Yasser did it because of the people that believed in Yasser's mission and believed in Yasser's values and believed in Yasser's purpose and helped me out to achieve those little milestones that getting us to our goals. And we're working on it. And every day we work on it. Every day we wake up in the morning and say, today we're going to change someone's life. Today we're going to get in and we're going to do something good. Today we're going to run a successful business and we're going to make sure that our business is sustainable to continue helping people. And that's a language that we use as a team, as a family.
So you have a busy life, right? You care about 1,100 people. You employ over 1,100 people. You are the national provider, right? How do you, or maybe you can share with our audience, our viewers and listeners, how do you wind down? How do you relax? Obviously, I presume you don't go back on a train, right? You do meditation on train.
I do.
Really?
I do. I still do. I mean, not as much as I used to,
Yes.
but I do.
So how do you calm down? How do you say, I'm going to relax now? Okay, it was a long day. And this is not just a 9-to-5 job. That's a 24/7, right?
Look, I'll tell you, I have a
Please.
2024 resolution that I don't use the word busy.
Okay.
Right? So I'm trying not to use the word busy.
Okay.
Sometimes I fail myself because it just slips out because it became a status. We ask someone, how are you? They say busy. And when I ask you, how are you? I want to know if you're well or not well so I can intervene if I need to, or stay back if I don't have to. So I'm trying to change that for myself. So I don't see any of that as busy, and I don't see any of that as working too much. I don't see it as working or not working. I see it as part of my life. I endorse the challenges as I go. I endorse the tasks as I go. I have no issues with waking up in the morning and getting to work. And when I have one of those heavy days, I do one of three things. One, I do stillness. I stop for 10 minutes and go walk around the office, enjoy just what we have that is good, that we know that is good. The trees, the sun, the sky. There's a lot of goodness that in the world that we can celebrate. So I go out and actually celebrate it for 5-10 minutes, get myself back to the zone where I appreciate rather than be upset or stressed. Or that's one of the things that I do. Second thing I do is, it's so important when you run into business, start getting awards and things like that. Things can get to your heart, which is very dangerous thing. You start you're feeling too good, right? It's a very dangerous thing.
Interesting, yeah.
So unless you put mechanisms around yourself to ground yourself constantly, that becomes, the job is too much, I'm going to just relax today because I can. Well, the way I do it is I start joining groups that have startup businesses, because that reminds me on the days where I didn't sleep for 3-4 days because I had to do 10,000 jobs at the same time, and I didn't have the manpower to support me or the resources to support me. I do that constantly. I reach out to my roster coordinators and I say, put me on the roster. I go out and support clients still today. Okay. I join them and I go and provide care for them happily, because that reminds me of how fortunate I am to be in a position where I can help people. When COVID hit, my team was scared. Everyone was scared of COVID. If we have a client that has positive case of COVID, can I send the staff to go and do it? Well, we should support someone that in desperate need of help, but everyone's scared. Now, how can I be at home safe with my family and telling my staff to go and support the clients? So I was the first one on the roster to support clients with COVID cases. Well, my team, I geared up. I'm very well trained, by the way. I did this work right from support work all the way up through every education you can imagine in the sector. And I put my gowns up and gloves up and everything, and I go in and support first. Because if I'm doing it, everyone is saying, well, we're here to help, let's help. I'm not sitting behind. So those are the things that keep me going. So when you say tired, busy, no, I'm not tired or busy. I really am not. I love it. And it doesn't matter if I have a long day or short day or bad day or good day. I still focus on my goal. Are we doing what we're meant to do? And if we are, I'm fine. And this is just a change of mindset. While I hear sometimes I'm burnt out. And people, that language comes up, and we have to respect that because sometimes it is challenging, and we have mechanism for our staff to be supported through that. But it never comes to my head that I never said to myself that I'm burnt out. I never did. I don't know why. Because the way I look at it is, this is a challenge, so what? Someone's got to deal with it. And if I'm good at dealing with it, then I might as well deal with it. And that's how my head works. I just endorse it, take it on, and just keep going with my life. It's part of life. It's a challenge. We'll fix it. And these are the kind of small little tools that I use to keep me going. So I don't know. I don't feel tired. I work very long hours happily. I'm the first in, the last out. You know, I'm into all these concepts.
So like, in that essence, you know, you say something very, very, very important what the most business owners, including me, forget. The moment we start excelling in our business and getting awards, everything else, our alter ego becomes our worst enemy. We are too good. We are too important. Yet your approach is different. You gear up yourself. You ask your roster manager to put you back into the workforce to help other people. That's something we don't see every day. And I wish that people can learn this more from this one because, as I said, like, well, most of people spending time try to glorify themselves, their services. And I understand we need to sell our business. We need to sell what we do. But as I say, you are the hands-on. And that's what I really, really admiring about you. And as I say, that night on 22nd of February, when I saw it, I said to myself, who is Yasser Zaki? Now, I'm grateful I'm invited. But then I Googled you, but then my face was always being glued to the people who are there working for you, and that happiness you can't pay. That's something you created. So I want to say thank you for that, looking after every disabled person, every people who has a disadvantage in life, 5 million people plus their families, they're looking high in somebody like yourself. So thank you, Yasser. So before we finish, end up, how the people can find you? Where they can jump on wagon, you know what I mean, help you guys volunteering or promoting the business, or you know what I mean, become the part of your workforce, so the people with disability can, you know, look for the services.
There's multiple ways. I mean, calling us, looking at us on Google, we come up very easily on there.
TLC, you must say.
Yes, so it's there. Googling my name, I'm always approachable.
Yes.
So we're out there. 1011k.com.au will be a way of sending us a message.
Why TLC? Tell me, it's such a great name. I mean, calling the business TLC, and I tried to misunderstood, obviously, for the various reasons. Like, it can't be Tender Love Caring. It is. I was like, wow. I said Steven next to me. It's like, it is Tender Love Caring. So
yeah.
Why that name?
Look, I would love to take credit for naming it, but it's not me that named it.
Okay.
I endorsed it because I believed in it. It's actually funny. The first person that helped me to get into the disability sector, when I was looking for work, I didn't have any experience because I completely shut my corporate work and decided to work in disability. So I spoke to a guy that has been in that sector for a while to just teach me what to say and things like that, and he helped me out. And when I started in the 11K, I reached out to him to join me and give me some of his expertise, which he didn't. Yeah. And he goes, I've always wanted to call the business Tender Loving Care. Would you call it that? And I said, absolutely. I love the name. And that's how the name came about. So it wasn't particularly my first choice of name. I didn't even think at a name for a name at the time. But it was a person that I owed a lot for my career. And he asked that, and the name resonated with me, so I chose the name. And look, we had some challenges with the name as well because it's such a commonly used name. And when I put it in, I got advised numerous amount of times not to stick to the name and to change it because you cannot trademark it. It's a commonly used terminology. Yes. And there's so many other people that use the same terminology. But look at us now. If anyone talks about Tender Loving Care, it's us. You know,
and I'm gonna make sure that everybody knows that TLC, it's actually, this is what we spoke today about. Yasser Zaki and his team, over 1,100 employees, national provider in disability, and people with the not just disability but some disadvantages. And if you're looking for definition, what's the humanity? What is to be true person who is Samaritan, it's Yasser Zaki. Yasser, thank you for being my guest today on Life the
It's an
Battlefield.
absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.